Should I force my teenage children to stay in school even though they don't want to and they are not doing well in school? Okay, nobody can tell you what to do or not to do in cases like this, so you will have to come up with your own decision. However, I will give you my personal story to see if this helps you make a decision. For some weird reason, my father did not want the system to program his children, and he had a lot of them. He had 7 children. So he took us out of school. Because I was the oldest, I managed to go to school till I was 10. The youngest ones never went to school. I was angry about this until the age of 40, because I was very good at school, and until the age of 40 I really believed that had I stayed in school, I would have accomplished so much. Then, by the way, until the age of 40, I did have a good life. But that's another story. Then I got into these metaphysical things, and I started having clients. And 90% of my clients were very well educated and had very good jobs. The kind that I thought I would have gotten had I stayed in school. And I started noticing that they weren't happy. That this kind of success was not necessarily what the soul wanted. The soul did not care about security. These people that had finished school and that had university degrees had security. But I started noticing that this is all they had, just security. Most of them lacked life experience. And again, most of them had never really had any or many magical moments in their life. Because, you see, the opposite of magic is security. Our system is not perfect. However, it does provide security. So this is what your children will gain if they remain in school. If they do not, there is a very big chance that they will become more interesting people. There is a very big chance that they will become happier people. Simply because they are out of the system. It's not so much that the system makes you unhappy. What it is we are now leaving the age of survival and we are entering the age of expression. And in this new age of expression, security is not necessary. And this is why many more people today are unhappy than what they were in the past. It's not just because they have everything. It is because we are entering a new age, but they are still living according to the old age. So part of the fact that your children do not like school is because something inside them is telling them what you are learning you will never need. So I would recommend let them do what they like. If they are teenagers, they already know how to count and how to read, and this is practically all they will need. If they are interested in knowledge, they will read books. If they're not interested in knowledge, they will not read books, but this is not because they have not gone to school or they have not finished high school. Simply, they are not interested. Start teaching your children how to think for themselves. When they have a little problem, don't just fix it for them. Talk with them, not to them, with them. And ask them, how do you think we should do this? If we do this, we are probably going to have this outcome. How will you feel with this outcome? And that way, they start thinking for themselves. You see, because parents have a need to be needed, they do everything for their children, and their children never think for themselves. So if you can teach your children to think for themselves, trust me, they will not need an education, at least higher education. Do not go to the extreme here. I don't mean don't teach your children ABC. I'm talking about the high school and the universities here. Let's see, what else do we know about? Also, look around you. A lot of what society calls successful people have dropped out of school. So it's no guarantee that they will be more successful if they stay in school. Because you see, our schools have almost nothing to do with education. They have to do with programming you for the system. Many people call it bad and manipulative and evil, but you know what? It started when there was a time when we lived in a time where we needed to survive, for one. Also, when we lived in a time where most people were still wild animals. So we needed to come up with some sort of system to civilize people. So, just because school does not work for us anymore does not mean we need to waste all our energy blaming it or blaming the system. Simply come out of it and create your own system, or just live. If you just think of today, you will not need a system. Systems are always based on future results. They are always planning for the future. Start planning for today, only today. Actually, you don't need to plan if you live for today. Just ask yourself after you get up in the morning, not from the night before. After you get up, what would I like to experience today? And then let go. Go and make a cup of coffee and let the day unfold. Trust me on this one. You will have amazing days, almost every day. Now, back to your children. The reason I don't want to tell you what to do is because most of the times we ask for advice so that we can have someone to blame when things don't go the way we want them to go. This is why I don't want to tell you what to do. I could tell you what I would have done, even though I hated my father for many, many decades for taking me out of school. If I were to have children, I would do exactly the same. I would not send them to school. I'm getting an image here of schools of the future where the future meaning the energy we're going into now. We are going to have classrooms, not all of them indoors and not always indoors, depending on the weather, where many people that are interested in a certain subject will sit around in a circle, all ages, from the age of, let's say, 3 or 4 or 5 to probably 105. And we will be talking about this subject. And we will be exchanging information and exchanging experiences that we have on this subject that we are talking about on that particular day. And this is how we will be learning. The young people will be providing ideas, and the older people will be providing experience. And we can sit there and talk all day. You see, when you are listening to something that you are interested in, when you are talking about something you are interested in, you don't get hungry, you don't get tired, you don't even need to go to the toilet. At that moment, time stops. You go into no time. This is how our schools of the future will be. I'm assuming that there will be a notice somewhere, I don't know where, of what subjects will be talked about at what days. And whoever is interested simply goes. This is what an education is. So do not confuse school with education. They really have nothing to do with each other. As I said, I left school at the age of 10, but I am highly educated. I'm not schooled. But I have learned a lot. I have experienced a lot. And this is what an education is. So let go of your fear of what will my children do if they do not go to school. I can tell you from now what they will do. They will be happy. And talk to them. Say, I have no problem letting you come out of school, but what would you like to do instead? For instance, do not let them watch television instead. That is not an answer. It will be even better if you get rid of the television. Make a deal with your children. Say, okay, I'll tell you what. I'll let you not go to school, but we get rid of our television. And you do something else. This is how the kids start thinking. We call our kids stupid, or this generation of children stupid, but that's because that's how we raise them. We raise them to be stupid. Otherwise they're not. So again, I want to close it with focus on getting them to think for themselves. And then just sit back and enjoy them. Because you will be shocked at what they come up with when you allow them to think for themselves. I will leave it at this.